I'm Julianne Hartman, and welcome to Heart to Heart. Now, today I have a very, very good friend of mine on the show. She is the sweetest thing you'll ever want to meet. This is Cory.
That's me!
This is Cory Everson, Donya. And I know her as Donya because she is actually my next door neighbor.
Yes.
And how awesome is that you have a 6-time Miss Olympia living down the street from you? So anytime I need something moved, I just call Cory.
I swear. I know. These muscles came in handy for something.
Well, Cory and I actually met. Our daughters were in the same class together in first grade. And so we've been friends ever since. And she's just been a blessing to our lives, my husband and I, and to my girls. And so I just want to tell you that.
Thank you.
For everybody else to hear too.
Thank you.
But there's a lot to Cory. First of all, look, this is amazing. Look at this woman. I mean, I know that, we look at the outside all the time and we think that that makes the person, but we know there's more to it than that. And so, Cory, I just want to you can maybe give us a little bit of, what it was like first of all, to make that decision to want to be a bodybuilder and what it was like back then, because I know that things have changed in that business now.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
Well, first of all, Julianne very rarely ever sees me with any makeup on or clean, nice clothes, because normally, the body is always hidden under sweats.
Yes. And she's moving something heavy all the time.
All the time. But yeah, I competed in bodybuilding. Actually, my first time was 1980. Can you believe that? That was like before most people were even born.
Actually, I graduated that year.
You did? I did too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I was from college.
Oh,
I was
high
from
school.
Oh, you stinker. But yeah, I competed in bodybuilding. I was in track and field, swimming, gymnastics, and badminton in college. I did the pentathlon, which I don't even know if you knew. It was an event where you did 5 different sports in track and field. Loved it. Had no confidence whatsoever, like zippo. But I could have been great, but I wasn't great because I had no confidence at all. So I, competed in bodybuilding because it came easily to me. I already was muscular. I'm German, so I have that German strong like bull, body, like my mom has and my dad, and my whole family. So I competed in bodybuilding. Won the first contest I was ever in. Couldn't even believe it. It was so much fun because it was more like performing versus competing. And I'm not, like I said, at that point, a very confident person, and I didn't like that one-on-one competition. So I liked the performance part of it. Competed, and then actually had a couple years later had a blood clot where they were going to amputate my leg. And I was in intensive care for 6 weeks, in critical care for 4 weeks, had to learn to walk again. Doctor said I would never be able to compete in sports again because I had so much internal damage. And 2 months later, I competed in my second bodybuilding contest, which was couples, and I did a posing routine in couples, and we won, and I looked horrible. I was so skinny and lost so much muscle. But my partner was great and beautiful and had this great, incredible body. So, that's always been my lesson about don't let anybody bring you down and really understand that what you give is what you're going to get. And if you think positive, I just spoke to God in the hospital. I prayed. I talked to myself, positive self-talk, and I still think that was what healed me.
Yeah.
Then I competed in, more of the professional ends where I competed in Miss Olympia. I was only in 6 professional contests. Won all of them, luckily and gratefully, and have been in the industry ever since then, whether it's been my own television show, Gotta Sweat. Did you ever see my show, Gotta Sweat?
No.
Ha ha, girlfriend.
Did you have your leg warmers on?
Yes. I had the hair disease, which was like such permed hair.
Yes.
But no, we had a great show. I started out creating a show called Body Shaping, which was, I think that was in the late 80s, or no, maybe in the 90s. I can't believe I'm this old, for one, talking about 80s or 90s. But then I created a show called Gotta Sweat, and it was unbelievable. And we shot that like 1995 to 2000 to 2005, and everything is still really current in it. But it was so incredible because we were able to deliver physical information, nutritional information. I'm really good at nutritional information. Yes. And also motivational information. And what we found is that the number one thing of getting into shape is not necessarily knowing how to do the exercises exactly right, or doing them in the right order, or doing them on the right days, but it's the motivation to do something most days of the week. And it's the motivation which I think made our show so unbelievably,
But that's awesome, because what happens, we do get stuck into this, oh, I've got to do this first and then that and then this, and oh no, I can't mix up this group with that group, and it's a lot of stress.
No, it's stress, and stress actually makes your body retain more body fat.
Yes,
and so
exactly.
The more stressed you are, the more,
Right.
the less you're going to want to do. And our philosophy was also try to enjoy what you do, and you'll be more likely to do it more often. I mean,
Yes.
if you don't want to take these crazy aerobics classes that are incredibly difficult to follow, you're not going to do it. Therefore, you're losing an opportunity. If just going for a walk and listening to your headphones is the thing that's going to get you out of your house,
Right.
then that is the best exercise for you to do. So it doesn't have to be complicated, like do 5 arm curls and then presses and flies and squats. It doesn't have to be confusing and complicated and intimidating. It just has to be something that you enjoy doing, and everybody will benefit from physical fitness in different ways.
Right.
Some people golf, some people play tennis, some people do weights, some people do treadmill. And the philosophy is one step is better than no step. So
Right.
it doesn't matter what you're doing, a little bit is better than nothing.
Yeah. And then, Cory, so now due to that problem that you have with your blood, is that why you were not able to conceive a child?
Oh, children! Yay!
Yes, because now there's another transition in her life. Cory ended up adopting 2 beautiful kids, Nina and Bo, and and they're not from this country. So
No.
tell them what happened.
And Julianne is their surrogate mom.
That's right.
Every weekend, I'm going to Julianne's house, getting away from you, Mom.
Yeah, and I just treat Nina like the 3rd child, and so
Yes.
she helps clean the house, and she
Yes.
helps does the laundry.
Yes. And then when Julianne needs help around the house, and it's like, hey, Boris, can you come over
Yes.
and help me do this? Will you climb on my roof and trim a tree and this and that? She's so cute. But yes, I went to a high-risk pregnancy doctor, and he said, I basically said, if I were your wife, would you let me have a child based on the blood clotting issue that I went through? And he said no. He said it's too risky, and there's, you don't want to bring a child into the world and then you not make it through a pregnancy. So we had so many challenges, with finding a child. First of all, and it's in this magazine, and this was the most amazing article, which, can we put this article on your website?
Yeah.
But it's called From Russia with Love. And it was so amazing because we had a surrogate that was going to carry our embryo, and the surrogate ended up having uterine cancer. All the embryos were lost. I mean, it gets
Oh
so
my
complicated,
gosh.
but we didn't give up. And we met a friend who is now a friend, but we met a man and a woman who adopted a Russian and a Romanian child. And they said something so important to us that made us choose to follow their path. They said, is having a child because you want to reproduce your own genetics, or is it because you want to parent a child? And I don't care if they have my genetics. I don't
Right.
care if they have my husband's genetics. What we cared about was being able to help a child, create a family for a child, love a child, and for them to love us back, and to parent a child and help them, with the whole parenting
Right,
process.
right.
And that's what having children is all about. So our kids are from Russia. My son, Boris, we adopted when he was 3. And when he turned almost 6, he picked himself a sister. And that's Nina, Ninichka, and Boria. So I've got the amazingly beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful children,
And they look like her. That's what's so weird.
I know my son. Doesn't my son? And I think when we looked at some videos and things, we saw Boris, and he looked so much like my father, who's German. And he was so cute. He just sucked his thumb, and he cried, and then he'd laugh, and it was so needy of somebody to love him. And, so we chose Boris, and he chose us. And then, he actually chose Nina, and we adopted Nina, and they're both the same age,
Right,
which is
right.
kind of cool too.
Yeah, because when we first met, you was like, "Oh, you have a twin brother," and she'd say, "Yes, I have a twin brother."
Yeah, yeah.
And then after a while, so now let me ask you a question. So when did God start like coming into your life again? I know you always had God in your life, and you were following another religion.
Yes.
But I know that He became very strong and very,
Right.
like the focus part of your life.
Right.
now.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was raised Catholic, and but it was long ago when you'd go to church and it was all in Latin and you didn't understand anything and you really
Right.
didn't get anything out of it other than I know I'm in an important place. I know I'm in God's home, and I don't know what they're saying, and and I'm afraid of swearing and I'm afraid of doing the wrong thing, and I
Right.
want to go to communion, and so I'm grateful that I had that being brought up because I think it's important to have faith when you're young and at any age, but when it didn't like really follow me through so much, going to church and everything
Right.
as I got older. But then when we adopted our children, I wanted to get them baptized. I wanted them to have faith in their hearts too. And so, we called one of the churches that isn't a Christian, church. It was a Catholic church. And I said, I'd love to get my children baptized. And they said, sure, bring them in. We'll baptize them. I thought, wow, that's easy. So then I called a Christian church. And I said, I'd like to get my children baptized. And they said, how old are they? And I, 8 or 6 or whatever age they were. And they said, well, we would like your children to choose to accept the Lord in their hearts. We want your children to love the Lord and for them to choose to have Jesus in their heart and soul. And I thought that was amazing to give an individual that responsibility and that choice of accepting God.
Right, right.
And so I fell in love with, the church that I go to, and that's
And which
when
church are you going to?
I go to
now?
the Church of Rocky Peak.
Okay, and that's in Chatsworth?
That's up in Chatsworth,
Okay.
and it's amazing. And the kids love it, and I love it, and I swear it's like therapy for me. I just love it. I just can't wait for Sundays. I just love it. But I just love the approach and about the respect it gave a child. Even though they're still young, they can be influenced in a positive or a negative way, and the church influences children so much in a positive way. I'm grateful for having had what limited religion I had, when I was a kid, and I'm
Right.
grateful for what we have now.
Well, that God wants us to come to Him because we want to come to Him, not because our mother or some other
Exactly.
kind of doctor. And that's what,
Exactly.
because when you do come to Him and you say, I need you, Lord,
Yes.
in my life.
Yes.
There's a big difference than someone, putting water on your head. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that because
Right.
that's, what that's your own. Your
all
religion
good.
is your own choice.
Right. It's all
right.
good.
But for me, I needed to make that decision
Right.
myself, and I know that my kids also want to do it too. Now, one other thing that you do, because she's so multi-talented here, but she has a thing for dogs.
Oh, I love
So
that.
in a 30-second little quick, you can just tell us a little bit about
I
your
am
dog situation.
constantly rescuing dogs, and then if I can't have any more, I find homes for them somewhere else. And
She can't come to me because I have 4.
she's got too many too, and I've got 5, and But the way we adopted our dogs is my son pulled one on me. We were at the pound, and he said, "Oh, Mom, this puppy. She needs a home, just like you adopted us and gave us a chance. You need to give this dog a chance." So since that day, we now have 5 dogs, a cat, a snake, and they're constantly growing. But to me, I've always been the one that's going to help the underdog. And, I feel like God gave me certain gifts and strengths and talents. And if there's anything that I can do to help somebody, the underdog, I can't do a lot of things, but the limited things that I can do, I love to help.
Well, she is really we've talked about the adoption, about what she did as a bodybuilder and also her dogs, but she is so talented. She is one of the most talented artists. My husband says that. I mean, she really is, and she's just, there's a lot to tell you about Cory, but she's really been a blessing to our lives. And so we have a foundation scripture that we say every show.
Okay.
And today's is Luke 10:27. It's, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind." Gosh, there's nothing else left but my toes, and I love them with my toes too.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
you.
And from my heart to yours, this is Julianne Hartman and Cory Everson Donia saying we'll see you soon and have a great day.